and Ice, they have been written by Robert Frost. And Robert Frost, as we know, is a poet, is an American poet who writes very simply, but his poems are full of insight. And both these characters, that of being very, very simple, but at the same time being very, very insightful, is very, very evident in both these poems. On the face of it, the poems are very, very simple. Dust of Snow is only an 8-line long poem, but the theme that it has inside it, it is so relevant to all of us. So let me just read out the text. Dust of Snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had viewed. I will read it out again. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had viewed. So, the first thing I want to discuss is the theme of this poem. Now, the main images in the poem, which is of a crow and of a hemlock tree and that of snow. Now, since class 8, I have been telling you, when you were in 8, some of you, I told you that in literature, anything that is cold, anything that is associated with cold is always associated with negative feelings, with not being warm enough. So snow is again something that's associated with cold, so we don't like the cold weather. It's not a very pleasant thing to experience, especially when you are out in the cold. Similarly, a bird like a crow, it is one of those birds which is hardly the mention of such a bird is done in poems. None of the poet talks about a bird like a crow, and crow is again not a very beautiful bird to look at. If you see horror movies, it is associated with horror also. It is associated with the devil. So again, the picture that is being painted is something that is very, very blue, very, very depressing sort of a poem. So as it is snowing, so what will happen is the sky will be full of clouds, so the sky will be gray. And then he's talking about a crow, and on top of that he's also talking about a hemlock tree. Now hemlock tree is again a tree that's not a very beautiful tree to look at, and not many poets talk about this tree. They may talk about flowers, may talk about beautiful trees, but hemlock tree again is associated with negativity. So the question arises is the poet trying to tell us about negative things, or is the whole idea of the poem very, very positive? Now this is the theme of the poem. The theme of the poem is that no matter how much ever negative things or negative feelings or negative circumstances or things which are not in our favor come into our life, everything has got an underlying positive effect. You must have heard things like कि जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, or trust God, he has got plans for everyone. And then times always change, things always change, whatever happens happens for good. So this is the kind of feeling that the poem is actually trying to tell us. So let me just explain it to you line by line. The poet says that the scene that is in front of us is that it was a day, one day, and the last line dekho, of a day I had viewed. So it was such a day that the poet was not very happy on that day. He was regretting that day, that maybe he has wasted that day, or maybe he has got a bad news on that day. So it's not a very happy day for him. It's not a day that he wants to remember. So aisa ek din tha. And what the poet does is he just goes out. And when he goes out, what does he see? That the scene is very snowy. Everything is covered in snow. And he chooses a hemlock tree to sit under. Now, you know that hemlock tree, it is a poisonous tree. And it has got small white flowers, very insignificant flowers, not very large flowers also. तो वो जाकर भी एक ट्री के नीचे बैठ जाता है just to think about what was happening with him. And suddenly what happens is another bird that is associated with negativity, a crow. It was sitting on the hemlock tree. Poet के आने से पहले ही वो crow उस tree के ऊपर बैठा हुआ था. And as soon as the poet comes and sits under the tree, the crow flies away. And when it flies away, what happens is, वो जो snow पत्तों के ऊपर गिरी हुई थी, it comes down on the poet like a dust. Now, just imagine this scene, children, when you are standing and fine particles of snow are falling in it. Write down in the chat box, is it a positive image or is it a negative image? Is it going to give you happiness or does it evoke sadness in you? Simply the scene that you are standing and little snowflakes, a dust of snow is falling on. Yes, so it's giving us positive. It's giving us positive, correct? Yes. Yes. So this now explains the theme of the poem. See, everything, all the elements in the poem are negative. The crow is negative, the snow is negative, the hemlock tree is negative, the poet is also not having a good day, he is also ruining his day. But suddenly, just one thing, one simple thing of a crow flying away, and the poet experiences that the dust of snow is coming and falling on it. And because of this, what happens? Look at the second paragraph. Has given my heart a change of mood. And whatever bad day the poet was having, just by the healing power of nature, just by that falling down of snowflakes, the poet's mood has changed and it has saved some part of the day I rued. And now, just because of this small positive thing in his day, the poet has now started feeling a little good in the day which otherwise he was regretting. Understood, children? Just type, have you understood the meaning? Okay. Right. Okay, fine. So now I go to the theme of the poem. Theme based question इसमें क्या आ सकते हैं? दो questions बनते हैं. First is, what do you call positive or negative in your life, or what is the symbolism of negative things in your life, or are all the things which are negative in your life, do they necessarily have to lead to negative feelings in your life also? तो आप इसमें example क्या दोगे? That no, like in the poem, the poet, the crow was sitting, the hemlock tree also is something that is associated, that is poisonous. So all these things, the day also of the poet was not going very nicely, but still the healing power of nature changed his negativity into positivity. So in our life also, many a times we will come across such situations where everything, it will seem, is going against it. Nothing is working for us. But that does not mean that we get depressed and we start taking our life in a very negative light. We must remember that there is an end to each. We got to know all depended. Okay. Yeah, thinking, correct. So, the entire nation is shocked because of Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide. I will just touch on a very sensitive topic. But see, all that he had to do, even see, he was so intelligent, he was a rank holder. Even if he was not able to cope up in the film industry, which he very much was able to cope up, अगर उसको दो चार movies नहीं भी मिल रही थी, we should know that, there is a coping mechanism, there is always a place for all of us in this world. तो कभी भी हमें किसी भी नेगेटिव सर्कमस्टेंस, किसी भी नेगेटिव पर्सन, किसी भी नेगेटिव चीज की नेगेटिविटी को हमारे को इफेक्ट करने नहीं देना चाहिए. We must always look for positive things even in negative things also. Some years ago, maybe 10-12 years from now, when CBSE had gone to CCA pattern of examination, at that time it was said that children have a lot of pressure on them, so that is why they are committing suicides. But children, tell me, is something that big that you have to lose your life for it? So just remember, try to find out positive things in everything that is negative in your life. So ये थी first theme इस poem की. Some people, they also give a question on the healing power of nature. ये भी एक second theme है इस poem का, which is not very deep, which is very, very in your face kind of a theme. So you see, the crow is also negative, the hemlock tree is also negative, the poet's day is also not going well, but just as the dust of snow falls on him, so this is something that comes as a healing power from the nature. So immediately when the snow falls on him, he feels very nice, और उनका जो दिन है वो बिल्कुल ठीक हो जाता है. So that was all about the poem, children. Now I will just can you all see the whiteboard? I will just write down about the poetic devices in dust of snow. So it's a very, very short poem, and there are only 3 poetic devices that you need to know. First is rhyme scheme. Now, first, children, tell me, do you know how to find out the rhyme scheme of a poem? Write in the chat box. Are you aware how to find out the rhyme scheme of a poem? क्या आपके syllabus में जितनी भी poems हैं, आप उन सबकी rhyme scheme को याद करोगे या आप exam में उनकी rhyme scheme को खुद find out कर सकते हो? Okay, most of you are saying yes. Only one person has said little bit. So let me just tell you. The first sound is always given the word A. The second sound is given the word B. The third sound is given the letter C. And wherever these sounds are repeated, every new sound is given a new letter. And wherever these sounds are repeated, these letters are also repeated. For example, the way a crow. So in this, the last sound is O, crow, O. So the sound of O is given the word A. Shook down on me. The second sound is E. So E is different than O, so I give it a B. The dust of snow. Now again it is O. O is repeated. It was given A. From a hemlock tree, B. So A, B is the rhyme scheme of the poem. So the first thing is, the rhyme scheme of this poem is A, B. The second, now this literary device, children, alliteration, I'm going to explain it to you in a little detail today, because alliteration जो होती है, ये हर पोएम के अंदर आपको पता होनी चाहिए. जनरली अगर किसी पोएम का राइम स्कीम है तो उसके अंदर alliteration भी जरूर होगी. अगर मैं पोएटिक डिवाइसेस की बात करूं, अब alliteration क्या होता है? If I explain it to you, see, poems are not supposed to be read. Poems are supposed to be recited. Poems are supposed to be sung. और जब हम lyrics की बात करते हैं, lyrics, yes शुभम, you are right. The same बड़ी poem है, कितनी बड़ी यार, 8 lines. By the way, each paragraph you are supposed to find out the rhyme scheme. So you are absolutely right. The whole poem has a rhyme scheme of AB. Anyways, अब I was talking about alliteration. जब भी किसी poem में rhyme scheme होगी, that means if it has got a rhyme, then it is going to have an alliteration. अब alliteration क्या होता है? जब हम किसी lyric को देखते हैं, तो बार बार like a wave कुछ sounds repeat होती हैं, तभी तो उसमें एक गाने वाली quality, एक singing quality, एक lyrical quality आती है. Did you get it? I simply cannot write a sentence and then expect somebody to sing it. If you have to sing, there has to be a rhyme, there has to be a rhythm in the lyric also. Only then it can be made into music. तो ये जो concept of rhyme and rhythm होता है lyrics के अंदर, एक poem के words के अंदर, उसको हम alliteration कहते हैं. And alliteration, in some books you will simply find the word alliteration. In some books you will find differentiation. Alliteration को भी assonance और consonance में divide किया है. Now I have read in most of the books consonance and alliteration को एक साथ use किया जाता है. So either they use the word alliteration or they use the word consonance, and assonance is a different word. But practically if you see, all the 3 words are same. Now what is assonance and what is consonance? Now consonance, as you can see, comes from the word consonant. Consonant in the English alphabet. You all know what are vowels and what are consonants. So it's very easy. whenever a consonant is repeated, we call that as consonance. And whenever a vowel sound is repeated, we call it as assonance. Now just write down, is this point clear to everyone? Okay. राइट मैं बार बार रिपीट कर रही हूँ, डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. सम बुक्स you will not find the word consonants at all. You will only find two words, alliteration and assonance. So alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in a line of the poem, and assonance is the repetition of vowel sound in the line of a poem. So now let me see. The way a crow shook down on me. Now look at the second line. Down on. Which line? Which sound is repeated? O. The sound of O. So down and on. So now O sound is actually a sound of vowel. So it is an example of assonance. So second line, down and on. So the sound O is repeated. The dust of snow. Now third line, of and snow. मैं बार बार बोल रही हूँ children, just by looking at the word, don't say that it is alliteration. You have to look at the sound. You have to hear the sound. Sound के हिसाब से ही आप assonance या consonance find करेंगे. Down, on, of, snow. All these are examples of assonance. From a hemlock tree. The fifth line, has given my heart, H and H. So it is an example of consonance, has and heart. The sound that is repeated is H. Has and heart, a change of mood, and saved some part. The second line, last line, saved and some. S and S are repeated. Understood? So this poem, it has got very much lyrical quality, and it has got both the poetic devices of assonance and consonance as well. Examples of assonance are down, on, off, snow. Examples of consonance are has, heart, saved, some. Is this clear, children? Is this clear to everyone? Okay. So I'm going to rub alliteration. And now I come to the last poetic device in this poem, which is enjambment. Enjambment is when a sentence continues into two or more lines in a poem. So sometimes what happens, children, is that one line does not mean one sentence. इन अ पोम बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि एक लाइन अगर पोएम की खत्म हो गई, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि सेंटेंस भी खत्म हो गया. कई बार वो सेंटेंस सेकंड लाइन, थर्ड लाइन तक भी स्पिल ओवर करता है. तो दिस पोएम इज टोटली एन एग्जांपल ऑफ एन्जैम्पमेंट. अगर आप देखें, अगर मैं फर्स्ट लाइन पढ़ूं, द वे अ क्रो, it is incomplete, does not make any sense. So even though it is the first line of the poem, it is not complete. So it is going to spill over. Poet क्या बोलना चाहता है? Shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood, and saved some part of a day I rued. So here the entire poem, if you see, children, none of the lines of the poem are complete in meaning. They are always continuing into the next line. Hence, it is an example of enjambment. So there are three poetic devices in a dust of snow. You know the rhyme scheme, then you know alliteration, there is assonance also, there is consonance also, and then you have enjambment, because in all the lines of the poem, the line does not make complete sense. It spills over to the second line. Now just write in the chat box, children, is this point clear? Is this poem clear to everyone? दो इसमें मेन हमारे, मैं अगेन रिपीट कर रही हूँ, देर आर टू मेन themes of the poem. Number one is healing power of nature, And number two is how negativity can be converted into positivity in our life just by our outlook towards life. And the third thing that you have to remember in Dust of Snow is um, the poetic devices, rhyme scheme, alliteration, and enjambment. So with this, we finish Dust of Snow. We'll start off with Fire and Ice. Okay, sorry children, I think there was some problem with the network. I think my voice was not clear. Anyway, I'm starting again. Fire and Ice. Again, a very, very short, a very, very simple poem by Robert Frost, but it has got a very, very deep meaning. I'll just read the text. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that destruction of to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. I'll read again. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Now, on the face of it, the poem is very, very simple. In this poem, the poet is talking about the day the world will come to an end and what are the reasons because of which the world will come to an end. तो हम इसका सबसे ऑब्वियस साइंटिफिक रीजन सबसे पहले समझेंगे, दैट इज because of fire or because of ice. Now, how come there can be a fire because of which the world will be destroyed? Maybe there might be volcanic eruptions or something might happen in the core of the earth, because we all know the earth's core is still molten, because of which all that lava and all comes out, and fire causes a destruction. Or maybe there is a meteorite that comes and hits our earth, because of which there is something of a nuclear explosion on the earth, because of which the earth gets destroyed. So these are the ways in which naturally a fire can destroy our earth. And how ice can naturally destroy our earth is, of course, by ice age. So everybody says that because of global warming and all the harm that is being caused to the environment and all the glaciers that are melting, so there are a lot of issues with ice. So maybe if there is an ice age, or maybe all the ice that melts and all of us are submerged under water, so ice can also cause destruction. Now, this way of understanding this poem is actually a very very superficial way of understanding it, कि ठीक है, दो तरीके से अर्थ डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगी, या तो फायर की वजह से या आइस की वजह से. But even at this point when I tell this to you, most of you must be scratching your heads and thinking कि it doesn't seem plausible. It doesn't seem that the earth is going to get destroyed just because of fire and ice. Yes, Abhishek, you are right. So now we go into the deeper meaning of the poem. What exactly is the poet trying to say? And now we come to the personification device that has been used, and fire and ice here have been linked to two self-destructing human emotions. Desire, fire is related to desire, तो इसको याद करने का बहुत तरीका है, fire and desire. So fire is related to desire and ice is related to hatred. Now we all say na, the person was very cold, so that is related to hatred. He was not very welcoming. So fire is related to desire and ice is related to hate. Now how can they bring about destruction? Lot of desire, lot of ambition. Gandhiji had once said that the earth has got enough for each person's need, but it does not have enough for even one person's greed. And nowadays the situation is such that if a person is unambitious, if a person just wants to peacefully live his life, people, even parents, people, they all say, अरे कैसा बंदा है, इसके तो वो गोल ही नहीं है, ये तो प्रोग्रेस ही नहीं करना चाहता. So there are lot of desires in the human psyche that have come up nowadays, and these desires, they are making us very very stressed also. So you have one kind of a phone, after 2 months another kind of a phone launches, now you want that, then the different cars you want to go here and there. So all these desires, what are they doing? Not only are they taking a toll on the human being itself, they are also taking a toll on the environment. You know, we all know that after when the lockdown was imposed, everybody was saying that the positive effect of lockdown is that the earth has healed so much. So why so much of destruction on earth is taking place? Because we are not controlling our desires. So this desire is like a fire that may ultimately cause the destruction of the earth. And again, ice. So ice refers to all the hatred that we have. We don't help our fellow beings, we don't help the other country, we don't want to share our resources with anybody. See what is happening in America now. Go back, everybody go back. H1B visas have been cancelled. Now what is this? What is happening is that there is no love, there is no warmness. We don't consider ourselves as one human race. We have got different identities. So I am an Indian, he is an American, he's from England. But as you see, there is no physical boundary that has been drawn by God. All these boundaries have been there with human have been the product of the human mind. Look at what is happening between India and China. Everything can be solved amicably, but somehow we have become very very cold in our heart. How many of you all are in class 10th now, how many of you have actually gone and helped somebody? How many of you have taken up a project to educate the maid's child? Or when we were under lockdown, how many of you did positive things, or just whiled away your time in front of the computer or watching YouTube, or maybe in front of the TV or playing games or something like that? So this is another thing that we need to actually consider, that ice, this coldness that we have, this hatred that we have, this indifference that we have, this intolerance that we have, this hatred that we have in our heart, it is all going to cause the destruction of the earth, because we are not going to be helpful for the other person. We are not warm, we are not sensitive enough. अगर देखा जाए तो हम अर्थ की तरफ भी सेंसिटिव नहीं है. वी ऑल नो कि हमारा ज्यादा एसी चलाने से, ज्यादा गाड़ी चलाने से, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ व्हाट शुड आई से डिस्ट्रक्शन दैट इज हैपनिंग, बट स्टिल जस्ट फॉर आवर मोमेंटरी comfort we keep on doing that. Now children, the class is about to end, so I'm just going to go to the literary devices. Tell me, is the explanation of the poem clear to everyone? Just type in the chat box. Yes. ओके चिल्ड्रन, सो कमिंग टू द थीम ऑफ द पोएम. इस पोएम में सिर्फ 2 ही थीम्स बनते हैं जो मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन कर दिए हैं. डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ अर्थ, नंबर 1, बिकॉज ऑफ द फिजिकल फैक्टर्स जो मैंने आपको पहले बताया था कि कोई देयर विल बी अ वोल्केनिक इरप्शन और समथिंग लाइक दैट, बट देन जनरली दैट काइंड ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन इज नॉट एक्सपेक्टेड. द मेन क्वेश्चन दैट इज एक्सपेक्टेड इज हाउ fire and how desire and hatred, the two negative human emotions, can cause the destruction of the earth. You will have to try to explain these in your own words. All right, now we come to the literary devices. For what okay, I'll just tell you. देखो बच्चों, सबसे पहले तो याद करने का कितना इजी तरीका है. फायर, डिजायर, ice, hatred. So fire stands for desire, ice stands for hatred. Now we come to the literary devices, and the first thing is rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme, is there a rhyme scheme in this poem? Yes, there is. Who will tell me the rhyme scheme? Come on, find out and tell me the rhyme scheme. I just told you the way to find out the rhyme scheme. fire, ice, yeah, so it will be A, B, A in the first paragraph. And what about the second paragraph? What about the second paragraph, children? Second paragraph. B, C, B, C, B. Correct, Mayank. B, C, B, C, B. All right. So you know about the rhyme scheme. Now I come to alliteration. Alliteration, which I always divide into two parts, assonance and consonance. So look at the vowels that are being repeated. Will and in fire. There are a lot of them. In, fire, hold, those, who, O sound is repeated. Then again, to perish choice, I think. So I've given you two examples, will, in, fire, and those who favor. So I and O sounds are repeated. This is an example of assonance. In consonance, what consonant sounds are repeated? Yeah, favor, fire, world, will. So in consonants, favor, fire, F sound is repeated. World, will, the W sound is repeated. Now these are some of the examples that I've given you, children. More you can find on your own when you read. Then the third literary device is imagery. Just type in your boxes, children, is imagery as a literary device clear to everyone? Otherwise, I'll post a video. Is it clear to everyone? No. Okay. Okay, children. देखो, right. I will tell you what is imagery. Imagery में क्या होता है बच्चे? You have to first know the difference between an image and a scene. All right. So image is something that is fixed. Something that is fixed. There is like a photograph, and there are two things for a particular line or a particular thing to function as an image is that apart from evoking a picture in your head, an image in your head, it also has to use one of the five senses. So for example, अगर मैं इस book में देखूं तो world will end in fire. When I say this, immediately you start imagining the world and it is burning up. Now what is happening is I have an image in my head. On top of that, I'm also using my visual sense in it. So this is an example of imagery. Then again, for destruction, ice is also great. Immediately when I say this, you imagine the whole earth is frozen. Again, we are using, apart from the image, we are using our sense of sight. I will give you one or two more examples. If I say, I heard the train engine passing in front of me. Now there is an image. You are standing, the train engine is passing in front of you. But then again, you are also using the sight of hearing, the power of hearing. तो इस image को बनाने के लिए आपने hearing का भी इस्तेमाल किया image के साथ साथ. Hence, this is also an example of imagery. I will give you an example of taste also. The green mangoes tasted like tamarind. Now what happens is you are imagining the boy stood and ate mangoes that tasted like tamarind. तो आपके सामने एक image बनती है, एक लड़का है जो आम खा रहा है, but साथ साथ you are also using that sense of your taste, because you know that tamarind, that mango, all that taste is also coming inside your mouth. You can actually imagine it. So imagery में हमेशा याद रखना, two things are involved. Number one is that you should be able to form that image, picture, and not a scene, a picture in your head. Apart from that, all the five senses, the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, the sense of touch, the sense of taste, and the sense of sight, they must be triggered in some way. So that is an example of imagery. यहाँ पे मैंने आपको दो examples पहले से ही दे दिए हैं. The world will end in fire and to say that for destruction ice is also great. ये दोनों लाइंस हमारे मन में इमेज बनाती हैं और उसके साथ साथ हम अपनी सेंस ऑफ साइट का भी यूज करते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज एनाफोरा. Anaphora is repetition of the same word in 2 or 3 consecutive lines of the poem. For example, if you see the first 2 lines are repeating the word some. So that is, sorry, some say. So that's an example of anaphora. Second last is personification. The power to destroy. That has been given to fire and ice. So they are almost as if, you know, they are living beings. Fire and ice in this poem, they have been personified. And last is enjambment. I think it's not visible. I'll just move the enjambment. Again, I told you enjambment is when one line of the poem, one lyric of the poem does not convey the whole sense, and when the sentence continues into 2 or more lines in a poem. So if you say from the third line, if you see from what I have tasted of desire, ये complete sentence नहीं है. Complete sentence क्या बनता है? From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So this is one example of enjambment. Then again, to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. This is again an example of enjambment. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate is again an example of enjambment, because in this poem, most of the lines, they are spreading onto the next line. All right, children, with this, we come to the end of the class. Just have a look at your stream so that I know. Enjambment, okay. Shubham wants, देखो, just the last topic that I'm discussing before I leave the class. बेटा, enjambment में क्या होता है? पोएम की लाइंस होती हैं. अब जरूरी नहीं है कि एक लाइन में आपका पूरा एक सेंटेंस या पूरा आइडिया एक्सप्रेस हो जाए. कई बार उस आइडिया को एक्सप्रेस करने के लिए पोएट को 2 या 3 लाइंस में भी उस पूरे सेंटेंस को डिवाइड करना पड़ता है. तो जब एक सेंटेंस, एक आइडिया 2 या 3 लाइंस में डिवाइडेड है, या जब एक लाइन ऑफ द पोएम से कंप्लीट सेंस ना बने, आपको दूसरी लाइन पढ़ के कंप्लीट सेंस बने, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज enjambment. जैसे कि if I say some say the world will end in fire, makes complete sense to me, so there is no enjambment. Some say in ice, correct, total meaning, so there is no enjambment. From what I have tasted of desire, does not make complete sense. ठीक है, you have tasted desire, so what? So hence there is enjambment. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. तो ये जो थर्ड लाइन है, थर्ड और फोर्थ लाइन मिलके they make sense to me. Hence this is an example of enjambment, right? तो जब आप पोएम पढ़ेंगे तो खुद आपको पता चल जाएगा. देखिए, but if it had to perish twice, हाँ, so फिर what will happen? You are asking for something. आपको और पता लगाना है. I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction of ice is also great. Sorry, for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. तो second paragraph तो पूरा ही enjambment का example है, because all the lines are interconnected. All right, children. Now you can start leaving the class.